good afternoon, good evening to all my friends from all over the world. Well, we're back here again today for the second show of OYF. Well, as promised, we are here again talking to you about some unforgettable stories, some unforgettable experiences, and something that's probably going to give you some interesting thoughts, interesting lessons about what life is all about. To begin with, we had actually spoken about something very, very fascinating last time, right? And we said, well, hey guys, here it is, the story of starting unknown and finishing unforgettable. And as we went through this last week, we mentioned about something that we want to talk about this week. What we said was something very, very basic, right? Something very simple. We said we're going to tell you something about somebody, a personality who probably lives, breathes, and talks about some experiences which could be life lessons for a lot of us. So here it is, where we're going to talk about that amazing personality as we go forward. Now, there are a few questions about who this person could be. Let's see what this person is really like. So, the next slide will tell you what it is about. Well, this story is all about stories that inspire. This person we're going to talk about was born in Honolulu. I lived in Indonesia when I was young, before I actually moved to Hawaii. I hated ice creams. Well, this is what this person is all about. I studied at Harvard. Well, this person is somebody who is very, very well known, a personality who probably is something. Any guesses that somebody wants to take on this one? Who am I is actually the next question that comes up for anybody and everybody to guess. So the next slide will clearly tell you what is who is this person? Who am I? Who am I is a good question to ask. Anybody who wants to take a guess who this person is? Was born in Honolulu, stayed in Hawaii, and hated ice creams. Wow. Plus, went to Harvard. All of this, which made this person who he was. And I've already spilled the beans. It's who he was. And here he is. This person is no one else but Barack Obama. Barack Obama, as we all know, is probably one of the most charismatic leaders. The only person who probably is the first African American president who probably gave a lot of life lessons through the experiences that he lived, through the journey that he went through. While me and my co-host Famida did mention about this person, a person that we're going to talk about, unfortunately, I don't have Famida having joined me today, but she's not well. I'm just hoping that she keeps well and is able to join me soon. But till that time, I'm here to talk to you about what this great man has been all about, his experiences, his stories, his journey through life. And what we're going to do is take you through what exactly are the experiences and journey all about. Those experiences will help us really understand what this person is and what life lessons to learn from. Over to the next slide, which now tells us very, very clearly here he is, the first American president, where from humble beginnings, he rose to the highest office in the world. By the way, humble beginnings is a strong foundation. That's the first lesson that anybody in the world can learn from what Barack Obama actually achieved. And there are many stories of such great human beings and great souls around. This one is no different. So here he is, humble beginnings to the highest office in the world. And the next one is about this man had multiple roles he played. He had multiple hats that he wore. Obama, the leader. That's what all of us knew him as. All of us understand the charisma, the ability to run, ability to drive, what really could be done behind the scenes. Let's just walk through the journey that he probably went through. Let's walk through the experiences that he probably shared with the world. He, in his own experiences, narrated some life-changing experiences for himself. The leader Obama actually showed up and said, where you grow makes you who you are. Now, it's a very important life lesson, a very important experience that comes out of what he really did. He grew in Honolulu, he grew in Hawaii, and he's very close to nature. He's very close to issues like climatic change. His ability to be a calm, accommodating person comes from the roots that he has. So his roots actually made him who he is. He has always been a person who's known for having to find the middle ground and always listen. This also comes from the background, the family, the environment that he grew in. The leadership trait that demonstrates being able to accommodate, being able to work along with people across all party lines. He is probably one of the few presidents who had an acceptance across party lines. And that's so amazing. That's something which is absolutely commendable. It talks about the leadership quality that he demonstrated. Another very interesting life lesson as a leader that he probably demonstrated was out communicate your competition. Interesting. As a leader, we always want to basically go ahead of competition, right? That's a job of a leader to take your team, take your business, take everybody to the next level. Here is a living example again. His journey as a leader. He did not outshout, he out communicated. A very important difference between the two. The basic difference that he was able to do in this case was about being able to bring in the element of multiple ways of bringing out news and information to its citizens. He was one of the first presidents who brought out policies online, and the changes were brought about in the policy in an online mechanism after listening to people. There were helplines set up, and there was a method of a two-way communication that he built in. An amazing leadership trait that probably demonstrated and changed the way things were being looked at. Another fascinating thing that I read about him and through his experiences that came out was make endings into beginnings. We all celebrate endings, we all celebrate wins. How many times do we actually convert that ending as a springboard to the next big goal, which is part of the big journey? Now, here is an opportunity for all of us as leaders to think about and imagine, well, if we were to make endings right, if we were to make the endings in the right manner and move them into the next phase while we are celebrating, the ability to move faster forward will become clearly visible to us. Last but not the least, an important role as a leader. Personal risks define you as a leader. If, as a leader, you're not taking risks, you're actually not a leader. And that's so true for every leader to think about, every leader to introspect about. And here is a leader who took personal risk. And one instance that sort of is quoted about Barack Obama is that he's not a great singer. The person went out into a public space and used his average singing skills to send out a message. He was not afraid to take risk because to him, the message was more important, not his ability to do it well. The risk was that he may not be liked as a singer, but that was not the purpose. So, as leaders, I think it's important to internalize and look at what all, as leaders, as entrepreneurs, as business owners, as individuals, we all can take away from these interesting experiences. Now, his role was just not limited to being a leader. Obama, as it comes up in the next slide, was a parent and also a partner. The next slide clearly talks about the fact that as a parent and partner, what did he bring out? What are the experiences that he really brought out for himself? There were a few very important experiences and lessons that came out of that too. Finding balance when you're young. I think you're young, maturity sets in with time. But here is a living example again of a person who was able to see what was important for him and how he actually managed his own transition through not the best of childhood, not the best of young ages, but that balance, that stability that allowed him to sort of mature into the person that he became. And that's really commendable. Another important lesson as a parent and as a partner, as parents, we all are responsible for our children. We want to give them the best, and that's something that each parent is so very much keen to do. And here again, if you look at it, both his daughters, he always referred to them as people, as kids who grew differently because they have their own personality, they have their own persona. And here again, same outcome of basic values stayed, but they were allowed to go and grow in their own way. And that's very, very sound parenting advice coming from the world's strongest and the most powerful man. who actually grew from where he was unknown and he became who he was. Another important lesson is, as parents, we always end up telling, and I think this is such a powerful lesson that I too learned and I was sort of reading about Obama. Coach them as a parent to make their mistakes and learn. Don't handhold them into everything. Just be there for them. Allow them to make their mistakes. If they make their mistakes, they will learn faster, they will fall deeper, and they will rise stronger. And I think that's such a powerful insight for all of us to recognize. Important piece, shift from caring to giving space. And this is something what leadership development, which gets linked to parenting and how you manage your relationships. When kids are growing, we become overprotective. But when they become old enough, we choose not to let go. Being able to let go at the right time is like middle management and senior management allowing people to develop and grow forward. Now, caring is very different from giving space. If you don't give space, the flower will not bloom. It will not emerge into its own potential. So, here is another living example of life lessons and learning coming from what he demonstrated as a parent, as a partner. As we go forward into the next slide now, you will realize it's so very clear that there are some clear takeaways, important takeaways for all of us to recognize. When you are willing to own your future, when you're willing to take responsibility for your own self, when you're willing to take responsibility and accountability for your own self, there are two important pillars of change that are extremely important. One is the change is never easy, but is always possible. That's the first hurdle everybody has to cross. And this is a very important message that comes out of his life, comes out of the experiences that he has lived through, comes out of the various stages of life that he himself has grown through. Evolving from a troubled family, growing in different places, moving from Honolulu to Indonesia itself was a very big change for him in his life. When he went to Indonesia, there are places where he's quoted as saying he realized that the world is a much larger place. He recognized what poverty really meant. He recognized how it means to and what it really means about throwing away waste. And those are life-changing moments. Those are changes that settle in with you. So those are important takeaways that we have to recognize as we start owning our own future. A very famous line that he is known for, yes, we can. Now, that's exactly a slogan that got him to where he was, but that's what he believed in. And change is all about believing in the fact that yes, we can. And that's exactly the most important message that I want to share with everybody who listens in now and wants to listen in later on. The fact that if you own your future, remember, you can. Until the time you don't believe in that, everything will stay where it was. Another important pillar of a takeaway out of the life experiences that come out clearly out of this is the progress. Progress is a very slow process. Progress never comes to you easy. Remember one thing, and that's something he's been quoted as saying many times. If you're walking down, if you're walking down the right path and you're willing to keep walking, progress will happen. That's exactly the important part. Remember that you have to be committed to your own purpose, your own cause, your own why. That purpose could be a long walk, that purpose could be a long journey, but that's so very important. And that's exactly what is the very important message that's there for all of us to take. Last but not the least, it's so very important to go to the next part of the session here talks about the fact that if you were to now convert these life lessons, these learnings, what Obama through his life experienced, what would it mean to you as a takeaway? How would you convert this into an action for yourself? Because we said own your future is not just about life lessons or experiences. Own Your Future has got three very critical parts. The first is about experiences and stories from people who start unknown to people who become unforgettable. And Obama is a living example of that. Then what does those experiences convert into as takeaways? Something that we just spoke about. And last but not the least, how do you take that into action? Because if you, as a parent and a partner, as a leader, want to take away something, here is a small summary for you to really look at, for you to reflect upon, and think about and say that if you were to decide to commit to yourself, to own your future, to commit yourself, to define your path, to define your purpose, here are some takeaways from his life, from his lessons. And that's exactly what I wanted to share here to summarize what we wanted to say here. So if you are a parent and a partner listening to this, please remember what are the important pieces that he's spoken about here. It's one second, I think there's something right about this. Yeah, just one second. I think I have a slight problem in the visual. Just give me one second, guys. This is the best part about uh, live sessions. So apologies for this. I just want to make sure that I give you guys the right. Yeah, here it is. Yeah, I think the most important part here is that why roots matter. Now, the roots that we are referring to is the upbringing. As a partner, as a parent, it's important to understand that your foundation is in your roots. Your foundation is where you belong to, and those lay down the basics of who you are and what you want to become. The second piece is seek out for a strong partner. He did not choose to go for somebody who was an average person. Michelle Obama was a Harvard Law student too, and he always been saying that he chose her not because she was stupid, because she was strong. He said that because of her is what he was able to become who he is, and that's a great amount of respect and dignity that he has towards that relationship. And it's important to choose a strong partner to be able to continue your life both as a partner and as a parent. He's been referring to parenting as nurturing trees. There are different type of trees. There are oak trees, there are bamboo trees. Each one is different. Nurture them the way they need to be nurtured. Give them what they need. And the whole experience of parenting will evolve and will revolve around the needs of each child being different. And I think that's something which matters most. Last but not the least, small beginnings cannot stop you. And when I say small beginnings cannot stop you, that's exactly the most important part. Wherever you are, remember, every person who's successful is based on not where he is today or she is today, but where they want to get to. So the day you choose to own your future, the day you choose to committing yourself, the day you choose to having a purpose and driving towards that direction, you will actually be in a different position. In fact, I was talking to somebody and the very interesting example came my way. And here I just wanted to share that with you guys here. It's such an important thing to recognize that how important it is to have a purpose in life. Think of an example where there's a car, which is a Toyota car, which is totally fueled, has got the fuel in it, has got a navigation system, and has got a driver sitting in the driving seat and knows where to head for. And there's another situation where there's a Porsche, a sparkling, wonderful Porsche. It doesn't have petrol in it, doesn't have a navigation system, and doesn't have a driver who understands where he wants to go. Which one is something that has actually greater meaning in life? Now, as a parent, as a partner, as a leader, remember the purpose drives you to your destination. And if you own that purpose, if you own that direction, you are likely to reach there faster and stronger. So remember that. And that's what all life lessons tell us. As a leader, if you look at it, some of the lessons that probably came our way, which are very clearly important for us to take away and bring it into action for ourselves, is failures are your best teachers actually. And if you don't fail, you actually can never succeed. And I say that very often that success without failure is actually fluke, and that's a reality. Imagine being successful without failing. It just is probably just a fluke. Try it again. If you do it again, you're getting better at it. And that's exactly what life lessons are all about. Refuse to give up. Obama never ever gave up. Important lesson in life. Never ever give up. because the only time that you lose a chance of winning is when you quit. And that chance is something that you have to choose. You have to decide. In fact, Obama himself has said the same thing. Write your own destiny and future. And that's exactly what we are saying. Start unknown, finish unforgettable, own your future. If you choose to do these two things, nothing can stop you. No one can stop you. Only you can decide where you want to head to. Last but not the least, here comes a brilliant one. Worry more about what you want to do, not what others think about you. What you want to do is what is more important. And if that want, that purpose, that mission is something that is close to your heart and is your passion, just go for it. So, my friends, please remember that the journey to own your future is not an easy one. But the journey to own your future is the only journey that will get you where you want to. I would encourage each one of you to think about what we've spoken about today, looking at the life of Obama, looking at what he has done, looking at what possibilities and options that came his way. Humble beginnings, roots which are strong, parenting, and having a partner who was supportive, all of it put together made him who he is. And each one of us, when we look back into his life and many other lives, can pick all of those. There is nothing stopping us. So I encourage all of you to think about this and commit yourself to your own path. The Own Your Future show is your show. Whenever you get a chance to watch it, remember, we are here to give you three things: experiences and learnings from life stories. We are here to share with you how those can be converted into takeaways for you. And lastly, how do you bring them into action? And how do you build yourself and get them yourself ready for the next important phase of life to own your future? All the best. Wishing you a wonderful weekend ahead. And we'll see you next week. And we have a very fascinating guest coming our way to have a very interesting conversation with you next week, next Thursday, 7 p.m. India time is when we will see you. Till then, be brilliant and remember, be daring, be caring, and be honest. God bless you. Thank you.